So it's been 7 years ever since my accident that occurred on June 15, 2014. And I'm going to say, despite all the trauma that I've been through, I definitely got to say that everything happens for a reason. And that the only reason why I'm here today is definitely because God saved my life. My story coming right up. Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Daniel Mejia. Today I'm going to be sharing my testimony about how I had a four-wheeler accident. I ended up breaking my neck, and therefore now I roll around in a wheelchair. But before I get to that point of the story, let me share a little bit of how I used to live my life back in the day. So for the most part, of my life, I had a pretty normal life. I grew up with two great parents, and they did their best. They did their best to shape me and train me to go in the right direction. They taught me good morals on how to live. And they taught me not to lie, not to steal, not to get into fights. Basically stay out of trouble. That's what my parents raised me to be as a child. And as I grew up, I did pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I did all right. I did okay. I had good parents, so I have good parents. So, basically, elementary school, middle school, did good. Basically, straight A's, stayed out of trouble. Yeah, I was a very quiet kid, and stayed away from drugs. My parents always made it really clear to stay away from drugs. Uh, for so yeah, I did good in elementary school and middle school. Now, towards high school, more like in my probably junior and high school years, that's when I started kind of rebelling more. I started ditching school a lot. I started smoking weed in high school. That's when I started smoking weed. And yeah, I would ditch all the time. And it's crazy because despite me like ditching and all the weed and everything, like I still did my best to hold up my grades and to be what society calls a good person, in between quotation marks. After I graduated high school, I started to get into more drinking alcohol and more into smoking weed. And my parents found out eventually. It was not easy for them. It was really difficult. I was rebelling too much. And I was trying to justify myself to them, all the time, telling them that weed is not bad and that that I'm still that I was still focusing, on school and the things that I needed to do. Because even after I graduated high school, I started going to college, and I still had good grades in college and everything. But at the same time, I was still surrounded with all the smoking and all the drinking and going to parties and just trying to live that cool guy lifestyle. Yeah, so smoking weed was definitely one of those things that I would do every day. Every single day I would get high. At least once throughout the day I would end up getting high. And it was just one of those things that I always wanted to be in a different state of mind, So I ended up getting high eventually once throughout my day, or maybe even more than once. And it was crazy because it didn't seem like a problem, but it was a problem because there was even times that I did not have weed, for example, and I did not have what to smoke, but I wanted to be in a different state of mind. Therefore, I wanted to be high, and I did not have marijuana to smoke. So, what would we end up doing was scraping the pipe. Basically, we would scrape the pipe of all the, you know, resin, all the residue that it would, be on the pipe, and we'd scrape it, and then we would end up smoking that, and that's how we would end up getting high. It was either that, or if we didn't have enough money, or if we couldn't find, a connect, to buy some marijuana, we would end up going to a smoke shop and buying what is called spice. And spice now is illegal, which is crazy because who knows how much crap I have put inside my body. I have no idea what was in spice. I know the only thing I know is that it was cheap. It was way cheaper than marijuana, and we would smoke it, and it would get us even more high than marijuana. So I'm pretty sure it's pretty bad for us. But yeah, that's the stuff that I would get, in order to be in a different state of mind, because I was always searching for something to fill me up, because whether if it was because I was sad or because I felt that I had a hard time at the work or whatever, I was looking for something, to fill the emptiness that was inside of me. And the way that I would do it was through drugs. It was through drugs. It was through getting high. I thought that's what was making me happy and getting me throughout the day. Later on, after smoking and all this, I got introduced by a coworker. I got introduced to cocaine. And man, when I was introduced to this drug, I was like, no way. I was like, no way. I don't want to do that. Like I told the coworker like that, no, that the farthest that I'll go is smoking weed. That because it's a natural substance, right? And it's crazy because I already smoked spice back then, and that's not natural at all. But anyways, long story short, I ended up, getting pressured into it, and I was like, all right, I'll give it a try. And yeah, as soon as I tried it, it was something that I enjoyed and that I was basically hooked to it, right? I was like, wow, this feeling is great. My body feels great. My mind feels great. I was in a different state of mind, which is what I was basically always looking for. Escape reality for a little bit. That was my thing. And it was one of those things that I started even buying on my own. And the purchasing of this white powder, to be honest, it did not last long because it's very expensive. It's an expensive drug. It's an expensive drug. So I don't know. Purchasing it, maybe it was, I don't know, maybe it went on for, I don't know, a couple of weeks. Or to a month or so where I would use it, for personal use. And I started to see that I would do this drug and it would not satisfy me anymore. It was to the point that I had to do more of this type of drug in order to satisfy, to get that same high, And I started to notice that that was an issue because I started to notice those addiction problems, right? That they teach us at school. Like, I did not see marijuana as an addictive drug, right? Because I would say, well, I would smoke and like I would get high and I would still get kind of the same high. But as to this drug, I was like, man, I'm doing more and more of it and I'm not getting the same type of high out of it. And I started to see it was a problem. So I was like, I need to stay away from this because, from the research that I saw, I knew that I was starting to head to a really, really bad path. Therefore, I stopped buying this drug and I stopped consuming it as personally. But the thing is, when I used to go to parties, or to the club or whatever, and if I met someone at the party that ended up having this powder. And and they would invite me. They're like, "Hey, Daniel, come on, man, I got some of this stuff." You know, then I would be like, "All right, yeah, yeah, definitely, I'm in." We would mix all this stuff. We would mix alcohol. We used to smoke marijuana, and we used to mix this white powder all together. You know, and we were just crazy like that, and it would help us, get through the night or whatever. But it was one of those things that it became a problem because I was not totally free of it, because every time that I would go to a party and I was introduced to it, I would end up submitting to it instead of trying to be strong and say, no, I don't want to do this drug, right? Just to add one more to the list, there was cigarettes. I would smoke cigarettes. Probably I used to smoke cigarettes in high school, kind of, not really. Like, I remember smoking once in a while, which was rare at first, right? It was rare. It was just like people offering to me and I would smoke. Or I remember even in high school, like one time, I think it was my sophomore year, or I think it was my sophomore year or junior year. We went and bought cigarettes just to see if they would sell them to us without an ID, and we were successful. And so yeah, but smoking cigarettes was not a thing for me. Not until like around late 19s, like 20s. That's when I really started smoking cigarettes, because I started purchasing them from the gas station right next to where I used to work. And I started smoking, more consistently. I would say I would smoke maybe like a pack a week or so. But yeah, I ended up smoking like a pack a week when I was probably like around, I would say 20. Let's just say 20. Yeah, it was one of those things that every week I would purchase cigarettes and I would smoke cigarettes, and yeah. And the reason I'm just adding this one to the list is because, when it comes to smoking both cigarettes and marijuana, I was doing something to my lungs that was not good to my body. These are substances that are not good to our lungs. Just like the smoke itself, the heat into our lungs, it's not good for us. And I have to put it in the list just because later on I'm going to talk about how smoking, overall smoking all this different stuff, between cigarettes, marijuana, and smoking spice, how I believe this stuff ended up messing me up, and, later on. And I will talk about that here in a little bit. Now, something that I really enjoyed before my accident was to go fast. I really like to go fast, guys. I never really had like super fast cars. I think the fastest car I had was a '96 Mustang GT, and I don't know. I mean, I always like to go fast, so top speed on that thing that I went was maybe, I don't know, around 135, 140 miles per hour, around there. Yeah, so pretty fast. To me, that's fast. I know there's people out there that do way higher speeds than that. Now, I also remember after I sold the Mustang, I bought I believe it was a 2000, I was in an '04 or an '05 Honda CBR 600 RR, and that thing was pretty fast. That was probably the fastest toy that I've ever had, and I went pretty fast on that one too. I can't remember quite how fast I went on that one, but definitely went way faster than the Mustang. Probably like in the 160 range, from what I remember. But I don't know. I don't remember. Anyways, I just know that it was fast, and that was the fastest thing that I've had. And yeah, probably pretty dangerous bike. So I decided to sell the bike. I decided to sell the bike because I was going to two reasons. First, I thought it was dangerous, But honestly, the main reason that I sold it was because I thought I was going to move out from New Mexico and I was going to go to Texas to work out there with a cousin. So I sold the street bike, um, and yeah, in the end, I decided not to go to Texas because at that time, my first nephew, he since ever since he was born, he had a heart issues, and yeah, at that time, he was in and out of the hospital. Sometimes he was doing good, sometimes he was doing bad. Uh, so I decided to stay here in New Mexico, um, and I had already sold the bike, the street bike by then. When I decided to stay here, so I decided, to buy a four wheeler. I was like, well, street bikes are kind of dangerous because I'm out there in the street. Sometimes people don't see you. It'll probably be a little safer to buy a four wheeler. And, I'll be off roading and, there'll be no other cars and stuff. So I thought it would be safer. So I bought, I believe it was a 2005 Yamaha Raptor 660. I've never had a four wheeler before. I was definitely unexperienced. It was a big four wheeler, and fast also. One day, we decided with some friends. I decided with some friends. We made some plans to go out and ride in Montesa, which is basically like a park, for motorcycles, for dirt bikes, and such and such, just to hang out over there. So we got our grill. I got my dad's truck. He didn't borrow his truck. We got our four wheelers. We had food. We had beers. We had everything, to have a good time. And yeah, so we were out there riding. I did drink one beer prior to riding. I was like, just relax a little bit. So I drank one beer. It did not affect me, to a point to be like intoxicated, and not to be able to ride on my bike. We were actually riding out there for a couple hours, probably like around 3 hours or so riding. And we got tired and we got hungry. We're like, all right, let's get back to our area, our grill area, to go eat. And on the way back, I remember that I wanted to beat my friends to the grill area, and I ended up going the wrong way. I was like, oh man, this is not the right way. And when I looked back, my friends, they flew boom, 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 fast in their four wheelers past us, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna take the same way that they went, because they went pretty fast and the terrain looked pretty even. So we went towards there, and I actually had a friend of mine that was a passenger. She was riding with me in the back, and we were going pretty fast on the terrain. And I'm not gonna lie, I've always liked to go fast, so I was going fast. My friend in the back was telling me, go faster, go faster. And it's not her fault. I don't put nothing against her or anything like that. I myself wanted to go faster, honestly. I don't remember on what gear I was, but I was probably like in fourth gear already. We were going pretty fast. I was not wearing a helmet. She was not wearing a helmet. And I thought that I was going in pretty even terrain, but out of nowhere, this like hill type of, thing just appeared out of nowhere. It was a pretty big bump on the road. I was going too fast. I tried to brake. The bike just slid. So I let go of the brakes. I was like, let's see if we could ramp over it. That didn't work. We hit pretty hard on that bump, whatever it was. And yeah, that's the last thing I remember. After I woke up in the dirt, I remember trying not to move. I was like, I better not move. I was just a pretty bad accident. I remember trying to move my legs because I wanted to stand up. I wanted to get up, and I was unable. I was unable to get up. I was unable to move my legs. My legs were, yeah, they were not moving. I could not feel my legs. I was in shock. I saw my friend. She was walking around. I think she was trying to find her shoe. She was just grabbing herself like this. From what I could see from like my peripheral vision, because from what I remember, I was like, when you're in a bad accident, do not move. I was like, do not move. So I was just looking around with what I could. And she was just walking around. Eventually, our friends, they were waiting for us at the grill area, and they were like, wow, what happened to Daniel and my friend that was riding with me? So they decided to go back, and that's when they found me on the ground, and they saw my friend walking around. As soon as they saw me on the ground, I told them, like, guys, I think I broke my legs. I can't move my legs. I think I broke my legs. And my friends were like, no, dude, you're fine. You did not break your legs. You're good. If you would have broken your legs, you'd probably be in a lot of pain. So, yeah, I was like, well, guys, something's wrong because I cannot move my legs. I cannot feel my legs. Like, don't worry, man. You're just in shock. You'll be all right. I was like, well, call 911, man. Tell them to bring an ambulance right away. They called 911. Everything was good, guys. Like, I remember there was some blood coming down my face and stuff. But I was not in much pain from what I remember. And yeah, I mean, I just couldn't move. That was the thing. And finally, an ambulance came. Probably like 20 minutes or so. It was the longest 20 minutes of my life. There was dirt in my face. That was hot. Like my face was heating up. My friends kept telling me, do you want water, man? Drink some water, this. And I was like, nah, man, just don't move me. I don't want anything. Just keep me still here until the ambulance comes. Ambulance came. They picked me up. They took me to the hospital. I was trying to be as positive as possible. I was like, wow, as soon as I get to a hospital, they'll find out what's wrong with me. I was like in a mentality that this was going to get fixed and that I'll be okay, like maybe some therapy or whatever, and I'll go back and start walking again. Oh yeah, and one thing I forgot to mention, is that day that I went riding, that I was gonna go riding, I actually saw my dad in the morning. And I was like, all right, Dad, well, we're taking off. Thanks for the truck and stuff. We're going to head out. And I was like, okay, cool. Sounds good, Daniel. I think he asked me for my car. I don't remember. I don't quite remember. But he was like, yeah, I'm going to church. And I was like, what? You're going to church? Because, it's been years before that my parents have gone to any type of church. Like years. The last time they went to a, somewhat church, I wouldn't call it church, was with the Jehovah Witnesses. Yeah, that's the last religion that we were in, and that was years ago. Way. Like that was when I was in elementary school, and yeah, so I thought that was weird. That day, that I decided that I was gonna go out riding with my friends, my dad decided to go to church. At the hospital, they did their thing. Do the whole x-rays and CT scans and all that good stuff. They did all of that. I remember I told one of the nurses to get a hold of my brother because they couldn't unlock my phone. For some reason. I gave them the password, but they couldn't unlock it. So I just told them, I think my brother's working. Called the fast food restaurant. I told them where. And yeah, so they got a hold of him. My brother got a hold of my parents. Um, yeah, it was crazy. Family came to the hospital and everything. And yeah, I just remember that I was having kind of trouble breathing. I had a problem, like, I kept like telling the nurse and stuff. I was like, I can't breathe right. And they're like, no, you're fine, just relax. So I wasn't sure if it was my anxiety or if something, was wrong there. But I kept feeling like something was wrong. Um, yeah. Anyways, after all the studies and stuff, the a neurosurgeon came and he talked to me. He told me that I broke my neck, C6, C7. I don't quite remember how it was, but one one of my vertebrae completely shattered completely, and one of them I believe was like cracked or something. So they said that I was gonna need surgery, that they were gonna do a fusion. They told me all the risk and all this stuff, and well, I was like, all right, yeah, sure thing. Let's just do what we got to do. Yeah, and they told me that I was never gonna be able to walk again. And when they told me that, I don't know if I was still in shock or what, but it was difficult in a way to take that news. But at the same time, like I was like, okay, I was like, all right, well, I got myself into this. I just, I seen other people in wheelchairs. I could do this. I'll be able to do this. And I was trying to do my best to stay as positive as possible. I was not going to let anything beat me down. Yeah, my parents were pretty devastated when they got the news. I had a lot of great friends there surrounding me, my parents, and also, so I had a great support system. So I was doing my best to stay positive and stuff. And yeah, so yeah, the doctor stitched me up because I had a cut here. I don't remember how many stitches they did. Now I just have like kind of like a bump there, weird looking bump from what happened. They stitched me up and stopped the bleeding that was going on there. And yeah, so then next thing was surgery. Now for the surgery, they asked me if I wanted to. Well, before the surgery, they asked me if I wanted to be sedated, and I said no so much because I still wanted to talk to my friends. I still wanted to talk to my parents, my family. So they said, okay, we won't put you, like to sleep. You'll just be relaxed. So that happened, and then I remember because the doctor told me that whatever I had right now at the moment was what I was gonna have. So he was like, whatever movement you have in your hands now, that's it. You're most likely not gonna recover anything, because my spinal cord was almost completely severed, almost completely. I still had like a little chunk that was connected, and the doctor decided to put something on my head. I told them I was okay. Of course, they always ask you if it's okay, whatever. Well, they put something on my head. They put some screws around my head. I remember that. They had, yeah, it wasn't painful because they put some, I don't know, they sedate you and all that stuff. And then this thing pull like a bunch of weight would pull my neck out. I remember it was to like relieve stress, I guess, on the spinal cord. And maybe there was a small chance of getting some movement back on my hands. I mean, that was my whole hope when I was there at the hospital. I was like, well, okay, I can't move my legs, but I was like, doctor, like, I need my hands. Because I was like, I need my hands. Like, I like to play video games and stuff. So I was like, yeah, I want to be able to use my hands. I remember that was a big thing for me, was my hands. And so yeah, we tried to do that, and that, yeah, I didn't regain anything. So then, yeah, it was time for surgery. Went into surgery. This part here, memory's a bit blurry for me because they put you under so much medication and stuff that I don't really know what was going on. But it came down to a point